complete without some place to eat food. So let's go back into a 3D warehouse and find something else. I'm going to go ahead and get models.
That object to that
and this time let's let's type patio set. So
and here
we'll find a table and chair somewhere in there.
Green. So as long as I've got
and here we go. Down, here's a great patio set. So I'm just going to pick one at random here. Now your list may show different objects because these are constantly
the arrow keys on the keyboard.
One that I'm loading may not be the one that you load, but let's go ahead and load this into the SketchUp model. And into your scenes, there's everything from appliances,
so these are some ways
to cars and vehicles. There's really a wealth of different objects in the 3D warehouse. So go ahead and take some time to explore the 3D warehouse and understand all the different things that you can bring into your SketchUp scenes.
And left-click and drag.
SketchUp components don't have to be just simple objects. They can also have intelligence that comes along with. And let's take a look at some components that I've already placed into the scene.
And let's go ahead and selecting and moving objects in SketchUp is very intuitive.
Scene.
So go ahead and practice
now this fence by itself is probably only minimally useful because fences are either longer or shorter and they can be varied in size.
And scaling them.
Like my scale tool,
now the rotate tool can be found
and scale it horizontally.
Or I can go
into the tools when I let go
and find
it recalculates the fence.
Now the hotkey for this is the letter Q. So I'm going to go ahead and select rotate. And notice how my cursor changes to something that looks a little bit like a protractor.
Fill in.
Now, when I hover this,
this is a great example of how intelligent objects can make things a lot easier for you in SketchUp. Now, the intelligence extends beyond just being able to scale it. We can also change the spacing of the pickets in this particular
Now, to activate the tool,
so if we go into Window,
to start,
we have an option here called Component Options.
So the first click sets the pivot point. So about which
axis this is a
do I want to rotate
example. So this is an example that SketchUp has provided.
Now I can actually start
and our SketchUp Pro course will tell you how to do that. But this really is just how to use it. So if I want to change my spacing, which was 5 inches, I can say change it to, and now my pickets are further apart.
Every 90
if I want to change that to a lower number.
And then left-click a third
time.
Now,
it also has intelligence, but it's a little bit different than the fence. So each object can be
other axis. So let's go ahead
and rotate around scale this. Notice how it turns yellow.
Maybe select the bottom
but I can change it using the component options window. So let's go ahead into component options. You see these are 30 inches. Let's make it 80 inches.
30. Hit enter, and it will snap to
Well, we can make it either narrower or
again just
wider.
Whatever I want.
Let's go ahead and just make it a little bit narrower.
30, I can do that.
And then we can also change
to rotate around
again with these pull-down menus. If you change the thickness,
so when I rotate that back, I could just click here,
and then again hit apply. So as you can see, we have a lot of different options, and we can constrain people to making their objects very specific. So they might not be able to scale it or select it from a pull-down menu.
And I left-click on it.
I'm going to show you one more here. Here's a cafe table. Let's go ahead and drag that into the scene. Now this one's even a little more complex. I'm going to turn on component options here and order one.
Along that opposite
So we can change just about anything we want. So we can change the base color.
These change the style of the blue axis,
and then if we start changing things such as the size of the table and stuff, notice how the price will change. So let's make this a small table.
Scale the object.
When I do, the price goes down.
Uniformly
scaling
this up. If you select one of these corners that are on an edge,
instead of
you can scale.
You can see floral is $50 more. So if I make this a square table,
one axis,
it goes down in price.
2 axes.
So you can see how powerful this is. So
those are
a lot of the components that you will download from 3D Warehouse, so make sure you take a look at those. And if you want to create your own smart components, you'll have to use SketchUp Pro and our SketchUp Pro. I want to show you one more thing you can do with components, and that's interact with them. Now, this interactivity is applied using SketchUp Pro, but any SketchUp Make user can take advantage of it. So this tool works very, very simply. All you do is you find it under called Interact, and that turns your cursor into this, and if I hover over objects, it tells me whether it can or can't interact with our object line to activate. So I left-click. I can also interact with this dishwasher to open any SketchUp Make color, texture, and materials to our objects. Now, the interface for these is very Macintosh.
Another thing to do
I'm going to go through the Windows tools first, and then we'll move on to the Mac tools. So Windows users, stick with me here. Materials can be found in Window
a little bit wider.
And this is our materials editor.
On to the other side.
Now, right now, it's only showing one material, and this is a material that is in my model, and it's just this neutral material.
Now, if I want, I can use this or edges, or we can move any one of these collections of them as well.
Materials.
So if I were to go into my select tool,
if I wanted to go to say ground cover, I could select that, and it would show all the different types of ground cover.
Move my staircase.
Another way to look at this is to go up here to materials.
A few of them.
And this shows me a folder because
they're all selected. To reshape our object.
Let's go ahead and do one more. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down, and let's go.
And this will become very important when you start to
paint the doors in wood color. So we just have to select one of the woods here
into modeling with SketchUp,
and go ahead and again
we'll have to select multiple faces.
So as you can see, it's very easy to apply color to one or more faces of your model. And have the neutral white color as well as the shingles and the cherry. And also notice how we can select any one of these, and they will show up here as our main color.
Any face that is connected to this
So if I wanted to select turquoise, I could just select it here.
So as you can see, this is a nice way to select things in separate objects in the scene. This is great. All with same material.
Transparent or translucent textures. So if I scroll down here, I have a translucent texture here, and these are all semi-transparent.
Only those things
and I can just select any one of these
or material.
And let's say I wanted to paint the windows.
Now, in addition to this, I can also
all of the windows of this building, and you can see that these colors are semi
But just understand
or
that
translucent
is also
so it gives you the impression.
So as you can see, there's a number of different ways.
So as you can see, we have a wide array of materials that we can use for our objects. We can also create our own materials. So go ahead and play with the materials and apply color and texture to the rest of this building.
You can also hold down the Shift key.
SketchUp has a lot of nice materials and textures that you can
will give you the impression that the line is erased.
Or you can edit this texture in an external editor.
It's actually different.
Now, another important thing is that you could actually change the scale of the texture
in
packages. These bricks here are a little bit small, but if we wanted to, we could make them bigger. Right
now,
again,
you can just
it says that the texture is 3 feet by 1 foot 6 inches.
Now, this can be very useful when you start using guidelines to help you draw
2 feet.
I'm going to go ahead and
lock here that actually locks or unlocks the aspect ratio. So this is locked. If I unlock R, let's go ahead and just change that back to 2. So, as you can see, we can also change
some doors
the scale of that texture.
So I'm just going to use that. That'll be the
material. So if I were to take this material here and apply it somewhere else, it would again maintain that same
maybe what I want is I want my windows to be...
So as you can see, we have a number of different ways to edit and refine the materials that come with SketchUp.
I want the metal. We can find the rectangle tool,
and then we can also do opacity.
Rectangle, and the hotkey.
So once I've created this,
we also have a rotated rectangle, which we'll get to in a little bit.
So I can just go ahead.
We can also find this
each
tool
one of these legs
in the toolbar.
Now for the tabletop, maybe we want to apply a texture.
I'm going to go ahead and select rectangle.
So we can do that again in the Create Materials window
underneath it. That tells us we're drawing rectangle.
So this time we're going to create a material. Let's just call it table.
Click and drag. And you can see how we can pull out.
And instead of a color, we're going to skip over this and just use an image.
We can snap to.
Now, if I go to my desktop here, I should have something here called woodfloor.jpg, and it's just a standard
to what's called a golden.
When you import a texture, it's going to assumize for this. So each one of these tiles is 1 foot by 10 and 3/4. Click OK. Now we have it.
Hit enter.
And I'm going to select my tabletop.
Dimensions.
And let's go ahead and use our Paint 550. We can certainly make that a little bit better.
For example, snap to this
endpoint in editing. So I'm going to go into my edit tab, and let's just go ahead and change the sketch foot. Let's just go 2 foot, see what that looks like.
Something that's perpendicular.
And apply that.
I can do this again. I can snap to this endpoint, and then this diagonal.
And again, you can see how it's making this bigger. So I think something about like that looks a little bit more realistic.
Again, diagonal.
So when you create materials, you not only have to create the color of the material, but if you create textures, you need to understand the scale of the texture.
Rectangle tool
now let's take a look at how to do materials on OS X. The materials window on the Macintosh is significantly different than Windows. So let's go through the process with a Mac-centric viewpoint. And as a color and texture for your models. But we really want texture.
All I'm doing is just using the rectangle tool
looks like
to draw on top
and this brings up our color picker.
So the rectangle
tool is fairly straightforward. It'll bring us to this tab that says Colors in Model. And these are all the colors that I have in my model. Well, right now I don't have a lot.
In addition to drawing regular rectangles, we can also draw what are called rotated rectangles.
But if I pull down this menu, you'll see they have a lot of different choices for color and texture. So, for example, if I select brick and cladding, it will bring up all different types of brick. Or if I go to, say, colors named, that will bring up all these different types of default colors. So go to things such as ground cover or really a lot of different types of materials. I'm going to go ahead and start with me, and then I'm going to select the asphalt shingles here. And when I so if I wanted to paint this roof, all I have to do is just basically go through all of the different surfaces. I'm going to draw if you have a complex model, it may be a little more difficult to paint it one surface at a time. So we can certainly paint by selecting multiple surfaces. And we can do that by using our select tool. So I'm going to go ahead and just select these walls here. Make sure I've got my picker here. Any one of these. And I can change the color of my wall. So if something like that, I can do that. If I go back over to my texture palettes, you'll see that it's changed. Now, if I want, I can close this, and now that's locked in. Now, if I want, and I can dial down the opacity as well. Another painting the material, or an easier way to do that is go into color and say new texture. Now, in this case, it's going to ask me,
and now that I have this, I can use my push-pull tool to pull out,
and then it's going to ask me to see what happens. So I'm going to select this material. So let's go ahead and apply it to that tabletop.
Use my rectangle tool, but I want the top
actually looks pretty close.
Even with the
but if I want, I can go back and edit it. So make sure this is selected
here,
and go edit.
Draw my guideline
and then I can change the scale like we did before. So it says instead of 3 feet, I want this to be 4 feet. Now again, for the door that you use, but you can always change this, and we can call this, say,
if I highlight
tabletop
this face,
if we want,
offset
and then just press
this,
close.
which is not really
so
what
now
I
we have a new material called
I want this to offset the door, so I'm going to go ahead and
so as you can see, it's very easy to create your own materials in SketchUp on the Mac.
That this is actually created
when we bring the time to make sense to place them interactively, and this will make it much easier to set the scale of the images in relation to your objects. So let's go ahead and start off with this simple box
and now
here.
I've got my
and I want to go ahead and just texture the side of this box. So I can bring in the texture using the import feature of SketchUp. So I'm going to go File, Import, and then find my Chapter 9 folder.
For simple shapes,
I should see an image out there called Naughty
more
Pine.
Complex shapes.
Now we have some options here. One is to use it as an image.
To add a curve, it will fill it in with a face.
Now, there's another way to import image as a material.
And I can extrude
So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and do File,
and complicated shapes.
And instead of use as texture, I'm going to use this as an image. And I'm going to select Soup Label to JPEG.
Select the initial
Open this up, and again, same sort of interactivity here.
So
it kind of floats at my cursor, and it will pop to whatever faces I have. So I'm going to bring it up to the one more time box here, and then just left click and drag.
Your initial point, and then
when I let go, notice how it doesn't repeat. And if I go into materials, I can basically have material for this. And that's because this is just an image. It's kind of like a decal that's placed into the scene.
And then once I
start both ways have advantages, but typically you want to bring things in as textures so that they will tile properly.
Now notice how
so remember, File Import brings in the image and allows us to scale it to the scene.
One for the base.
When you work with textures, there are sometimes when you'll need to apply a texture to a curved surface. Now, this can present a little bit of a problem, but let me show you how to do this. We're going to do an outside label to this cylinder here, so basically like a soup can or something like that. So we can bring in a texture by importing it, like we did last time. So let's do File, Import.
Basically what we're doing is we're setting out a base.
And we have a soup label image.
Now,
and I want to make sure that we use this as a texture. And let's go ahead and press
that it fills it in. So this is almost identical to
now when I do this, it brings in the image, and you can see that it's trying to snap to the individual faces of this cylinder.
3D shape.
So it's kind of, as you can see, it's kind of stair-stepping around. So I just want to go ahead and just select it and put it somewhere there, and then just drag this up so that the scale is right. So I'm going to go ahead and left-click
into any shape.
And you'll notice that it only mapped to
now, in addition to drawing,
you'll see why.
We can do that using either the circle
or the polygon. Now remember, a cylinder is just a polygon with smooth faces.
Draw.
So this is just applying to that one face.
Now a hotkey for circle.
But if we want, we can apply that material to the whole thing. So all I want to do is just turn off hidden geometry here.
I'm actually
and let's go into our materials window here.
Now, when
and you'll see that we have our soup label.
Now remember, a polygon
and all we have to do now is just apply this to the face outside of this.
Specify the number of sides.
And it should take.
Bottom right
now what this has done is it's used the mapping that we have worked for a lot of objects, but not all. So let's take a look at how to do something a little bit more complex.
Let's say I wanted something else like an octagon or something like that.
If you want to apply textures to a surface more accurately, you may need to use projected texture.
Reselect the tool.
Let me show you how this works. I've got this simple object with a curved surface.
And now
if I want, I can apply a texture to it.
I'm going to type in the
now let's just go ahead and go through the process that we did before, which is to import
an 8-sided octagon.
This soup label here. I'm going to use this as a texture.
Pull that out.
Click open.
And there we go. Now, if I
and then I'm just going to go ahead and click on this surface here and scale this.
Then hit enter. Now I have a
triangle. As you can see, the same thing happens that happened before, which is it only applied to part of the surface.
The number of sides.
But we can go into our materials window here,
the radius
find our soup label,
object.
and just
interesting that